Welcome to Bealtaine National School in County Meath. I asked my nana what was the bog called, and she said she called it the Bohermeen Bog.
I asked my mum what did they wear on the bog, and they said very old clothes and wallies.
I asked my mum, is there any ghost stories from the bog and was she scared? My mum said that there would be a monster ready to pop out of one of the bog holes and she was scared.
I asked my mum what did you do if you got hurt on the bog. She said you'd get a docken leaf if you got a sting and put a hanky on your head for protection of the sun. I asked my granddad, what did you do when you were bored in the bog? And he said some bored people founded a new sport called bog snorkeling. They would put on flippers and snorkels and they swam through tight channels through the bog. I asked my granddad what games did he play on the bog. He said he would kick the empty bottles that he would use, and he also raced against each other to see who would stack the turf the fastest.
A tradition that my granddad done was always make tea and sandwiches on the bog.
Could you tell us about the food that you bring down to the bog?
The food, well, we bring sandwiches.
Yeah.
Bread and butter and cheese.
Cheese, that's the big thing there.
And milk and that's about it.
Bottle of tea.
Apple tart or
apple tart.
rhubarb tart.
Rhubarb.
Although my sister used to stay at home and cook for us. Okay. She'd do all the apple tarts, the buns, the rhubarb tarts and that, and she'd have it when we come home. It wouldn't be at home in the house 5 minutes when it'd be all stuffed. We'd be so hungry because we only had the bread and butter.
That's right.
And cheese.
And you'd make the tea down on the bog?
Oh yeah.
Tell us how you make the tea.
With a kettle, you just light the fire on the bog.
That's right.
And it'd be blazing away and you put the kettle on top and the kettle would boil and we'd all sit around with mugs or cups or whatever and pour the tea into it and the milk and drink it with the tea. It was brilliant.
It's pretty brilliant. And the homemade bread.
And the
homemade bread and the jam, that's my always loved that as a kid. That was the steak today. That was the steak today. That was the steak today, isn't it? That was the homemade bread and the jam. Yeah.
There's no such thing as pans.
I asked my dad what would you see on the bog, and he said he used to go to the bog with his cousin and his uncle, and they used to find frogs and frog spawn, and they used to help with the turf. And my mum said that you had to put a stick in your welly because if an otter clung to your leg and cracked the stick, it would run away.
I asked my granny, were you told to stay away from a bog hole? She said, you were told that a bog hole was a never-ending hole and to be careful when you go near it.
I asked my mum what cure did she know, and she said if you rub garlic on your wart it will shrink.
I asked my babysitter about the otter at the bog, and it doesn't like intruders and will cling to your leg until it hears a crack. I asked my mum what games did she play after the bog. She said she would play with a ball and throw it over the clothesline with her brother.
Now, we say we had a pot there, right? And you throw here and fire it, and then whoever got the closest to it, it'd win. And then you move it again, you go around, pull over here, and then the same crowd would go again, do the same thing. So whoever got the nearest, pitch and toss, that's how I couldn't do it.
Pitch
and toss.
Pitch and toss.
I asked my granny, what would you do if somebody injured themselves in the bog? She said that if you got cut, you'd wash it really quickly and cover it up with leaves or newspaper.
I asked my nanny and granddad what tricks did they know from the bog, and they said it was easier to wash your hand in the bog water than water at home.
But if there's a bad spot in the bog, or say a river or water, and you stick a stick in the ground or a hat or a shovel or whatever, and you hang a plastic bag on it, you don't go by that, because the fairies will get you when you go by that. So that was it. And same over here, maybe the same here for a certain area, but the fairies was always there, that stick, it didn't matter where it was, the fairies were there, so you wouldn't go by that.
My nanny's reward after being in the bog was she would get a penny or two to go down to the shop and buy some sweets.
Oh, the Bohermeen Bog, a bog came cutting at me, I-oh.